Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back. First live stream of 2022. Hope everyone had a happy new year, rather. And just kind of want to kick off the new year with a new IrixGuy's live show, episode 152. Appreciate all y'all's viewership throughout the viewership and subscriptions and channel memberships and super chats and all of that throughout the previous years. 2022 obviously is going to be the best year yet. I had a near disaster in the studio last night. I was attending a huge New Year's Eve live stream, and I had just a generic store brand cola, and I had that in a glass, and it was here, at my studio, and I spilled that generic store brand cola all over my laptop. So as soon as it happened, I unplugged the laptop. I disconnected from the live stream. I powered everything down, and then with everything powered down, I thoroughly cleaned not only the desk and the floor, but also the laptops and all the associated cables. And it got over everything. It got over my Rodecaster Pro that I'm using for this audio source. It got all over my laptop, got all over my studio monitor. I mean, it was a mess. And then, this morning I went through and thoroughly steam mopped and walked on my floor barefoot to ensure that there's no sticky residue left. So that was a disappointing. It was something that wasn't anticipated. Rather, let me see who that is. 1 2 1 2. That was a telemarketer trying to sell me a cruise. No. Although I've enjoyed cruises, I've been on 2. I've been on the Carnival Pride and the Carnival Elation. It's just, let's talk about cruises. So, let's talk about that. 2022 travel planning advice. So, cruises, they were fun because you got to go to various ports. You got to have an very abbreviated amount of time on the islands where you docked. The problem with cruises, though, is that you have such an abbreviated amount of time that you don't really get to experience anything, because by the time you get to that place on the island, then it's just rush, 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 and you're in a crowd because you're there with other cruisers. It's rush, 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 and then you get back on the boat. Now, the boat itself, you got good food, you got drinks, but don't let that fool you. If you see these cruise deals that, appear to be a good price, that it may be. I mean, if you just go there and you don't drink anything and you just eat the food provided and you don't do anything when you get off, when you go to port, when you go to these various ports of call, then it could be somewhat affordable, but it's a diluted experience because you're probably staying on the ship. You're not buying drinks because you're trying to keep it just to what you spent for the cruise. So cruises, although they appear to be a good deal, unless you nickel and dime yourself and just stick with just what you prepaid, you're going to have you're probably going to have an underwhelming experience. Now, with that being said, if you have not been to the Caribbean and you want to check out the various ports of call, I think a cruise is a great initial way to do it because you can stop in, the cruise ship will pull into various ports of call. I definitely recommend the Eastern Caribbean. And when it does, you get an abbreviated, again, I keep saying abbreviated because it is always abbreviated amount of time at that port. So it's a good way to see the islands very briefly and see if it's something you would want to go back to. Now, I'll tell you from experience, and again, this is all prior to 2020. Travel now is a pain. It's expensive. It's hopefully all this stuff, this situation gets fixed because it's annoying. But back in normal times, when you would travel, I would just, I would go to the island of choice. I would go to TripAdvisor. I would look for vacation rentals. I would sort price low to high. And then I would find the ones that were low that had air conditioning, because you want to have air conditioning and Wi-Fi internet. And then from those, starting, with the lowest price going up, I would then choose the one that had an acceptable amount of reviews. And were those reviews overwhelmingly positive? Were they overwhelmingly negative? And even if they were overwhelmingly positive, what were the negative reviews? Read those and see if it's something that would really just be a deal breaker for your personal travel preferences. But, with that being said, back in the day when you could get affordable airfare, and airfare wasn't this crazy thing that I'm sure it is now because of the situation, you could get a cheap plane ticket from the United States. And again, this is assuming you're traveling from the United States. I could get a cheap plane ticket from the United States. I would fly from the East Coast, Charlotte, North Carolina. And I would fly directly from Charlotte, North Carolina to Cyril E. King Airport in St. Thomas. Cheap flight. I had my Jeep waiting for me because I used Discount Car VI. Not to be confused with the chain, Discount Car VI is a locally owned Jeep rental outfit. It's very close to the St. Thomas Airport. Super nice people. They pick you up in your Jeep. They take you to their little office just right down the street from the airport. You sign your paperwork and boom, you get your Jeep and you go wherever. If you're staying on St. Thomas, just keep it on St. Thomas. But what I do is I drive to the east end of St. Thomas and I get on the car ferry, the car barge. And I take that car barge over to St. John and stay on St. John for the week. So, for that reason, having cruised several times and getting to see different places, I've found that, in the past, and again, travel's different now because of the situation, but, in the past, I could get a cheap plane ticket. I could get a cheap place to stay. Nothing fancy, just something with air conditioning and Wi-Fi. But I could get all of that because I really did my research. You got to book these things in advance. And when I mean advance, I mean probably 8 or 9 months out because things, they become unavailable. So, that's how I would always do the Caribbean on the cheap. Now, unfortunately, because of the situation, I keep saying that, and you know what the situation is, travel is pretty much, it's not affordable and it's not enjoyable. So, for that reason, here on the channel, until these things are corrected, and hopefully they'll be corrected within the next few months because this can't, well, it could, but it shouldn't go on like it is. So once everything normalizes, that's my goal, is to get back down to the Caribbean in a big way, get tons of videos, get tons of more current travel advice, and just do that. But due to the situation now, what I'm doing, with the channel, I'm pivoting. I'm doing a lot of how-to tutorial type content. Found a lot of value in that. Sure, filming how-to videos is fun, but it's not as fun as going down to the Caribbean and reviewing these hole-in-the-wall places that only the locals or only people that are adventure travelers will be able to find. So that's one of the big things for 2022 for IrixGuy's Adventure Channel is the how-to and tutorial component. I'm going to pump a lot of money, well, not necessarily money, but just a lot of resources into that. Also pumping a lot of resources into timepieces for tomorrow. If you haven't watched my timepieces for tomorrow videos and live shows, what timepieces for tomorrow is, man, I got some poison ivy or something on me. It's eating me up. Timepieces for tomorrow is wristwatch centric content. So, wristwatches, mechanical wristwatches in particular, they're super popular, probably more popular than they've ever been. And, it's my objective with that, with the Timepieces for Tomorrow series here on my, it's here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, is to showcase the various timepieces, timepiece tutorial, buyer's advice, all of that sort of stuff. And something I do need, and I've mentioned this within several of my Timepieces for Tomorrow videos, I need a quality relationship with a pre-owned wristwatch dealer. So if you're a pre-owned wristwatch dealer or you know someone that is, tell them to reach out to me because I'm looking for a partnership so that I can get some, I can get hands-on access to various timepieces to review here on the channel. That'd be super cool. We got Philippe. Philippe is here. Let me see, Philippe. Let's see your first message, my chat. I saw your water and smiley face and hello, and then I saw the top part. For some reason, my chat cut it off. You said Curacao? You're going to Curacao in January. Now, that's going to be awesome. You'll have to let me know how that is. I've never been to Curacao, and Curacao is on my to-do list. You have to let me know how the travel experience is too. I mean, whoa. You got a round trip to Curacao from New York for $281. Man, that is cheap. That is awesome. Wow. Well, so now how does that work? Do you have to go to Curacao? Do they have all this stuff? Do you have to have all these vaccine passports and take tests and shove a swab up your nose and all that when you get there and when you get back? How does that work? Or do you just travel there and they don't care about it anymore? That price, $281, man, that is phenomenal for a round trip ticket from. Now, do you have any stops? Is that a direct flight, or do you have to hop through various airports to get to Curacao from New York? Man, you got the crowd cheering here. Yeah, Philippe says less touristy than Aruba. Yeah, that's the thing. Now Aruba has some very nice, from what I've heard. I've never been to Aruba, but from what I've heard, it's got some very nice white sand beaches. But Curacao, like you said, it's just supposed to be less touristy and just a really, really interesting island. So yeah, that's a place. Oh man, I'm excited. Can't wait to hear your review. If you post some videos, see your videos on your YouTube channel. By the way, everyone, if you don't know Philippe, Philippe is a longtime viewer of IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. His support is tremendously rather appreciated. So, yeah, that's exciting. I want to know how that is. Everybody out there, share your 2022 travel experiences. Is it getting to where travel is normal? Can you just get on a plane? Can you just go to a destination? Can you just walk down the beach without having to wear a mask on your face? I mean, that's the thing, man. I don't want to go in a hot place, have to put a mask on my face every time I go out. I just want to go out. I want to eat. I want to drink. I want to go out to the beach. I want to do what I want to do. And until it gets back to that point, I don't want to spend. But I tell you, man, $281, dude, $281 is still a lot of money. But $281 for a round trip ticket from New York City to Curacao, wow, that is awesome. Philippe says, yeah, it's a turnoff with all the COVID tests you have to take there and here in New York City. I'm debating if I should go or not because of the current situation. See, that's why I'm not going anywhere, because my fear is that I say I'm not going anywhere. I do go some places, and I'm on the East Coast, of course, in the United States currently. But the thing is that it's, I wouldn't want to go somewhere and get stuck. And they say, well, you got, insert whatever name here. Okay. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're going to hold you hostage. I don't want to get in that situation. And also, I don't want to get in a situation where I go somewhere, and even if everything, if they're testing you and doing all this stuff and it checks out okay, that is still time that bites into my travel time. I'm paying for an enjoyable, and obviously the travel that I do on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, it's business travel, because that's part of my business, going to these places, filming these videos, sharing the experience with others, adventure travel videos here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. But I don't want to go to a place, at least currently, until I have 100% level of confidence that all of this stuff is swept under the rug. I'm not going to show up somewhere and then, it's like, come into this room, and they pull you into a room and they do all these tests. And, I don't want to get in a situation where it's like that. I want normal travel. Okay. These are my plane tickets. Okay. This is when I'm going. This is when I'm coming back. And that's it. I don't want any of these unexpected nuisances or inconveniences or whatever. I want to travel. I want to be able to go into a restaurant and eat in the restaurant. I want to be able to just be free. And until that happens, man, I don't know. I can understand why you would be hesitant. But, again, for $281 round trip, man, that is enticing. That is wow. That's a really good deal. It's just, I'm just afraid of getting stuck, and they'll be like, well, you didn't pass whatever, this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's, it is crazy, man. It is crazy, but I hope you get to go, and I hope it works out well, and I hope you don't get pulled into any sort of time delays, being like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, or whatever. That's my fear. I don't want people, if I feel like I'm sick, I'm going to go to the doctor, and I'm going to have a doctor check me out. But I don't want to go through airports and security that's been touching bags and touching everybody else, sticking swabs up my nose and all that. I don't want to deal with it, man. I mean, I want to travel. That's the biggest thing, the most exciting thing that I've done and will continue to do on my channel. But I mean, gosh, to go through all that, it takes the fun out of it. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Felipe says, unfortunately, with all the variants going on, traveling is not fun anymore. So sad. Normal travel is not going to be here for a long time. It needs to be. And, the thing that gives me hope, and maybe this is false hope, is that if you look at the Greek alphabet, the letter they're on now is close to the end. So, they can only, this narrative can only continue for so long. And it's going to get to the, hopefully, I say it's going to get to the point. I'm surprised they haven't released a new variant. I was expecting that for Christmas or New Year's. And well, it's still New Year's Day, so I guess they still could. But, it's going to get to the point to where it's just, this can't continue. It's killing the economy. Not just, it's killing the economy, but it's killed the supply chain. It's killed travel. It's put a financial dent in everything, and it's caused inflation. I mean, when you can't get products from point A to point B, there are a few products to sell, but not the quantity that there was once available to sell. So when you got lesser quantity, the price goes up. So the price of everything is going up. Groceries, vehicles, gasoline, paper products. I mean, everything is going up. And the sad part is that when things go up, if things do ever normalize, once things have gone up, how many times do you see any industry raise a price and then decrease it? It's like, oh, well, things are cheaper now, so we're going to reduce our prices. Unless there's significant competition, those prices are probably never going to go back down. So, then that translates to salaries. I mean, salaries have to keep up with with the increased cost of goods because people have to be able to pay to survive. So when the salaries go up, the profit margin for the company goes down because they're having to pay more for salaries unless their products go up and they're selling products at the same or greater quantity than they were previously. Philippe says no direct flight, short connection to Charlotte. Historically, Charlotte's been a pretty good airport. I think there's one time I was stuck in Charlotte, but there's so many bars in that airport. I just sat there and drank some beer. Yeah, that's my favorite one. I like just the flight from Charlotte to Charlotte Amalie St. Thomas. I mean, that's a great direct flight. They got this little Caribbean bar thing in the airport there. I just go in there and get boozed up. I hate to fly. I can't. It's we almost landed on an airplane, not on an airplane, but we almost landed on a helicopter at LAX, and I was going to Maui. And ever since we almost landed on that helicopter, I've been afraid of flying. And it's something I've never been able to block out. The only way I can tolerate is just drink a lot and then fly. Philippe says, I'm just afraid to catch the thing there and be stuck there for 10 days. Yeah, that's the problem. If you catch it, or whether you do or you don't, I mean, you get a sniffly nose or or a cough, who knows what they could do to you. And, being a fellow professional, you got professional obligations. I mean, you've got jobs that you've got to perform to generate money. And if you're stuck somewhere for an extended period of time, that can be financially damaging. So yeah, I can understand your hesitation, man. I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, it's 2022. I don't care. Again, this is by no means political. I don't care what side of the fence someone's on. It's 2022. Everybody just got to wise up and say, look, we're going to forget about this. We're going to go back to normal because it's gotten to be not just ridiculous, but it's gotten to be it's destroying the economy. It's destroying individuals because, they're being destroyed by the failing economy. I mean, to go out, and I'm cheap, man. I mean, I'll go into for example, I buy groceries online, and I'll go in and I'll price check everything. There's no impulse buying here. I only buy what I need to buy. So I'll look at the list, and then I compare it to the previous weeks and the previous months, and everything has gone up astronomically. So then I try to say, okay, well, maybe instead of getting this, it's not just a matter now, okay, well, instead of getting this, maybe I'll get a different brand. Even the store brands and everything are expensive. So it becomes a situation, well, okay, well, instead of eating this type of food, maybe I just go from, I used to eat bacon. I love bacon. Bacon and eggs and cheese. Cheese is super expensive. Bacon super expensive. It's a deal where you pivot, and it's like, okay, well, I could eat bacon, eggs, and cheese, or I could just get some bread. Bread's gone up too, and just make various types of sandwiches. So I'm constantly aware of what I'm spending for every item. To the point to where it could irritate some people. I mean, it's like, well, why do you spend so much time, looking at your grocery list? For me, I'm all about the bottom line. I want to spend as minimal amount as possible and increase, I want to have as much money as I can to invest. And if I'm throwing, 4 or 5 times more for groceries now than I did prior to 2022, that's not working. So I just got to pivot with what I eat. Philippe says it's going to be a close call on my final decision if I'm going there or not, 50-50. I don't know, man. That is such an, here's the thing. That is such an affordable round trip flight. It almost scares me that it's so cheap. I don't know if you're a superstitious person, but I'm one of these, if it sounds too good to be true, I often feel that there's a reason why it is. And that sounds so good that it's like, okay. So I the question I would ask, here's what I would do. If I was going to do it, as bad as it sounds, if I was going to do it, I would almost have to plan that I'm going to be stuck there for 10 days. 10 days extra. I would have to plan for that. I would have to plan for that, number one, financially. Number two, shift some of my business around, because, I would have to anticipate that, okay, I'm not going to be gone for a week. I'm going to be gone for a week plus 10 days. So, I would have to shift around, my various appointments to accommodate for that expected 10-day extension. Philippe says, I'm currently for a Marriott hotel. I never see so many delivery guys bringing food to the guest, Uber Eat or Grubhub, etc. People are not eating out anymore, working. Yeah, that's, one of the things that, and I don't want to say this is a positive thing at all, but one of the new things that the situation has brought to the world is that it has really bumped up the popularity of delivery services. And, I'll admit, just for groceries and stuff, I use, and this is, let's see, I'm getting, placing an order here. I use delivery for a lot of stuff just because it's, it's more convenient. When you think about, okay, so here's the thing. If you think about, okay, if you go to a store to buy groceries, there's several things that can go wrong. Number one, you're in that store, you got to find stuff. Even if you always go to that store, you know where stuff is, but when you go to that store, you're exposed to impulse buys. They've got stuff front and center. It's like, buy one, get one free. It's like, man, I got to have that. But you're getting a buy one, get one free of something you don't even need. So you're adding to your grocery bill. You're buying something just because it was buy one, get one that sounded like a good idea, but you didn't actually need it. That's a suggestive sell. And when you're shopping in retail locations, you're directly exposed to those suggestive sales. So more than likely, your bill, when you check out at the cash register, your bill is going to be more than it would if you had shopped online. And what I mean by that is that shopping online is you get what you need. Like right now, I'm looking at, and admittedly, I'm just using a Walmart. So I've got a Walmart order I'm putting together, and I'm planning, how to eat cheap for the next week. Now, sure, I'll go out and eat some meals out, But, I've gone through this in a very in a very strategic fashion. So basically, for a combination of lunch and dinner on a daily basis, I'm going to spend about $6. I mean, for breakfast and lunch. For those two meals, it's going to be about $6. And for my dinners that I don't eat out in a restaurant, I'm going to spend about $2. So, that's how lean I've got things. And that's just a combination of, for breakfast, I don't eat breakfast foods. I don't eat, frou-frou branded stuff. I eat, and you got to drink a lot of water with this, but I eat a lot of, sometimes I'll just do turkey wraps, just tortilla shell with turkey, some cheese, and then some carrots. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I'll do for breakfast some days. It's pretty healthy. Sure, turkey's a processed meat, but, I'll mix that up. So some days I'll do like the healthy, it's just the healthy choice steamers. They're not breakfast food, but they're little bowls you can put in the microwave, and, they've got a minimal, they do have high sodium. That's the only drawback, but they've got a minimal amount of calories, like this one right here that I'm looking at. It's got 16 grams of protein. Let's see, what's it have here? Let's see. So it's 290 calories for the entire meal, and it's got one thing I try to stay away from are the ones that have added sugars, because added sugars are really what'll fatten you up. But it's just things like that, just planning. So now I do the groceries online, and sure. So number one, I'm not exposed to the suggestive sales in the retail location. I'm only getting what I need. I'm not spending the time to actually walk through that retail location, put all this in a cart, wait in line to check out. I am paying a small fee to tip the delivery person, because that's only fair. They're delivering the groceries to you, and it's just funny. It's not funny, but it's just again, planning. I'm just ready for things to normalize, because we have been sold so much. When I say sold, we've had, as citizens, and this isn't just the United States, at a worldwide level, people have been convinced of things that, and again, I'm not getting into, is this real or is this not real? That's not my intent. People have been convinced of things and they've gobbled it up. The scary part here is that if people can be convinced of X, can they be convinced of A as well? Can they be convinced of something else? So we really got to be careful, what we assume is true and what we assume is false. But looking past all of the perceived, whether you feel something is real or you feel it's fake, the reality is that whatever is going on has made things a lot more expensive. So, that has created the demand to just be a smarter shopper, utilize these new tools. There's a lot of delivery now, as we were talking about, for groceries and other goods. Utilize these tools to your advantage. Utilize online coupons, something I do. And I've really, let me get a link here. I think I got a link. But I use a tool, so I seldom order, for Walmart, for example, I seldom order those items through a mobile app. I go through a third-party website first. It's called Rakuten, formerly known as Ebates. And basically, for eligible items, it'll give you cash back. Now, a lot of the groceries it doesn't, but certain items, like if you're getting groceries and then you're getting some other supplies, some of those supplies that are eligible for the cash back, you get a small amount of cash back. So just a great way to get some cash back. Also, a lot of these online purchases, a lot of them have an option for a coupon code. Sometimes by way of email, sometimes by way of snail mail. You get a newspaper, it's got a little coupon code stacked in there. There's ways to save money. But the other money saver that you may not even think about with choosing to plan and choosing to strategically buy, your grocery items, you can also, you're saving the expense and the time. Time is money, but also the gas to and from that retail location. So that's another money saver. And when you're dealing with seasonal items such as fresh vegetables, you can You can plant tomatoes, man. You can plant tomatoes in your backyard. You can plant all kinds of stuff. You can plant corn. You can plant potatoes. You can plant okra. You can plant squash. You can plant watermelon. You can plant a lot of stuff that you can affordably grow. And if you got a rainy season, you don't have to water it that much. So, there's ways to reduce the monthly expenses. I mean, just things that you can grow on your own, things that there's ways to do it. But I'm just ready for things to normalize, because this has been too prolonged. I mean, this is the first day. This is January the 1st of 2022. I mean, this has gotten out of control, and I'm hoping, and again, we all see it coming. There's going to be something new released, and I'm surprised it didn't come out for Christmas, but it probably will here today or in the next few days. And I hope that doesn't happen, because I'm just ready for the narrative to conclude, and I'm ready for things to normalize. Let's get our supply chain fixed. Let's get the cost of goods reduced. Let's just go back to a healthy economy, because an unhealthy economy affects everyone globally. It's not just just this one place. No, it's everywhere. So, and it's ignorant for anyone to say, oh, well, the economy's fine. Look at your spend in 2019. Groceries, utilities, clothing, miscellaneous goods. Look at your spend for those same items in 2021. There's a problem. So, I don't have the fix. I don't have the solution. I mean, I'm not a politician, but, I do acknowledge that it is a problem. And all you got to do is just look at your, if you don't use credit cards, save those receipts. Take a photo of your receipts with your smartphone and just add it all up. And, you can see if you track back to, say, 2019 or 2018 and then look at it in 2021 and currently, you can see that the cost of everything has gone up. I mean, everything. I mean, even a bottle of ketchup, even a bottle of mustard. There's no denying that. So, looking at this from a numerical perspective, there's no denying that there is a problem. And the problem comes because, see, this drives everything up. Again, for people to be able to survive, they've got to have an increase in salary. So, in my situation, I run a lot of different business ventures concurrently. So I've got a ton of business ventures that I run concurrently. However, even running all of those concurrently, it's not like I can just push a button and say, okay, well, now the cost of goods and the cost of everything has gone up. I can't just push a button and make more money. Many people are in the same situation. So, you can do the same stuff, the same business ventures that you've done historically, whether that's business ventures or whether it's a day job or whatever you're doing. But you can't push a magic button and overcome inflation, because, the reality is that the cost of everything is going up. So the cost of living has gone up, and it's just, there's a breaking point. And I hope the breaking point doesn't come, because if it does, things are really going to get nasty. And again, this is January the 1st of 2022. I don't want to be gloom and doom. That's not my intent. Nothing I say is political. I'm a guy that just solely focuses upon numbers, because numbers will tell the truth. Numbers never lie. Whether it's a perceived positive or perceived negative, numbers never lie. You look at numbers and you can say, okay, well, something's going up. Well, if the thing that's going up is income, that's great. Someone's becoming more profitable with their venture or ventures. But even if it's going up, if the pace of the cost of goods, groceries, gasoline, electricity, services, clothing, if the cost of all that goes up and it outpaces the increase of income, it's still a bad situation. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm afraid that the healthy economy that we had, and again, it's not as good as, Reaganomics. Ronald Reagan was, those times were the best. But the healthy economy that we had prior to 2020, I'm afraid it's going to be a long time before it recovers. So it's just, it's prompted a different way of thinking. So where I'm going with all of this again, and this is not a political rant. I don't talk politics. That's politics. It's kind of like sales. It's just a bunch of gibberish, and everybody's feuding over blah blah blah, this, that, and the other, and they don't want to do this because the other party wants to do that, and the other party wants to do that. The bottom line is that everything costs more, and things have got to get fixed. End of discussion. So with that being said, in 2022, my personal plan, and I can't fix the world, but my personal plan is my New Year's ambition, my New Year's resolution is to do my New Year's resolution is to become a multimillionaire. So that's my resolution for 2022. My day-to-day task are putting together, I've got a new, and actually I thought of this new business plan, which I won't share publicly, but a new business plan for a new startup that I'm creating. I thought of it last night, and I'm going to work on that, and that's going to be a huge Philippe says, I don't have a family, but I feel sorry for the young people trying to have a family. Things are going to be much harder for a lot of people. Yeah, man, it is. And that's the thing. I mean, you see people with, I've got a family, but a small family. So, and that's tough. I mean, if I didn't do, I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Now, the one regret that I have is, I've got so many things going that to run all of these things, it takes a lot of hours. So I have a minimal amount of down hours. I wish that, things would rebound so I could actually have some downtime where I'm not trying to make a buck. And that's, but yeah, to your point, people that, that do, now if you're married and you don't have kids, that's, that can, in some situations, benefit you from a tax perspective. If you're married versus filing as single. But as far as Philippe says it right. He said life's not fun anymore like it used to be. Well, and see, that's where you've got to create the new excitement, and that's the path. It's funny you said that, because that's the path for one of the startups that I'm working on. It's kind of, and again, I'm not going to spill the business plan publicly, but at a high level, it's aligned with that. It's where the best way to visualize it is that, we've always been in a sandbox, and, prior to 2020, that sandbox had a lot of cool stuff. You had all kinds of toys, you had all kinds of, enjoyable food items, this, that, and the other. In 2022, we're still in that box, but that sandbox is not the same. We've got some food and some toys and stuff, and it's just kind of worn out, and we got to figure out, hey, Kyle C., welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard. And it's kind of worn out. So the challenge here is making the best of a bad situation. So, how do we, as not just as individuals, but how do we as a world, how do we come together and find ways to fix the problems, and create that happiness again? Because it would be easy. And there's a lot of people, with this situation, there's a lot of people that have been destroyed. It's horrible, but it's a situation where you've really, to be happy in the current situation, and hopefully everything gets fixed in 2022. I'm not, again, I think this narrative is going to continue to be played out as long as people will gobble it up. And I see the number of people that are so gullible. It seems that there's a decline there. Hopefully there is. But, now it's a situation where you just got to find how to not just create profitability in the new year and beyond, but also find how to find new forms of happiness. See, happiness for me, business, adventure travel. That's a huge component of several of my businesses, including this IrixGuy's Adventure channel. So that travel, missing that, man, that's tough. You know, when you're used to going to Caribbean islands at least twice a year for business purposes, when you're used to that and then you can't, that's huge. I mean, it was business, but it was fun work. And now that's currently not an option. So I'm ready for that to come. But with that not being an option, there's other things that can be pursued to provide happiness. But ultimately, travel is my thing. I like travel more than anything. But it's finding those new things. Adam says, just discovered your channel today. Happy New Year. So glad I took learnings at the last downturn in 07 and 09 to get my finances in order to prepare for the next. No doubt, man. I mean, history often repeats itself. So, you know, anytime there's an opportunity, and again, this is for entertainment purposes only, this should not be considered a recommendation to buy or sell a security. I'm sharing this for entertainment purposes only. But, you know, with that being said, it's always good to kind of, you know, not be fearful, but be mindful of the possibility of something, you know, whether it's this thing that emerged in 2020 or something completely different. Be mindful that something could happen that could disrupt the economy. And, you know, people that, you know, like yourself, Adam, that, you know, didn't see what came coming, but being able to be forward thinking enough to realize that, you know, you probably should be prepared. That's smart, man. Being proactive is smart for anybody. And that's awesome. Philippe says, Happy New Year and fasten your seatbelt. Another rough year coming up. Trying to be happy without money, not easy to do. Ha ha. Money doesn't buy happiness. The problem is, and again, and that it's one of those things, and I always, like, you know, people in various realms, online and in the real world, you know, people often confront me and they're like, man, why do you want to make so much money? And it's not that I'm after the money. I've never been after the money. I'm after the freedom. You know, my goal with this channel, my goal with all my business ventures, it's not to make money. Sure, I've got to make money and I want to make a lot of it, but it's not the money I'm after, it's the freedom. Because my goal, my end game, and it always has been, is to make so much that I never have to ask how much something costs. Okay, I want to do that? Great. Okay, that'll work. You know, there are things, though, beyond money that can control people. And a prime example of that is the situation that reared its head in 2020, and that's the inability to do things, such as travel. And that's been painful because, you know, there's no amount of money I could pay that would enable me to, okay, you can just effortlessly go from, you know, point A to point B and everything's going to be like it was back in 2019 and previously. There's no amount of money that could be paid to do that. So the frustrating part is that when, and this is the first time in my lifetime, and probably the first time in y'all's lifetime, that we've ever encountered something like this that just locked people down, you know, that took away people's ability to make their own choices. And that's the first time that I've ever encountered something like that. So there's no amount of money that could be spent to give you a hall pass to do whatever you want to do. So that's kind of disappointing. But Adam says, no consumer debts with only 12 months left on my mortgage at age 40. Dude, that is awesome. That is, you know, that's in my opinion one of the best things that people could do right now is, you know, to have, and again, this entertainment purposes only, should not be considered any sort of financial advice. I'm just sharing this for entertainment purposes only. But someone that has their mortgage paid off, and then, you know, that's kind of my goal, is to just get into a bunch of rental properties. Because rental properties, if you own them, then that's just passive income every month. You know, assuming you have a tenant in there that's not destroying your rental properties. But I mean, that's where money is made, man. Freedom is created, you know, having multiple rental properties. And that's, oh, man, that's awesome, dude. Congrats. Seriously, congrats. Cal C says, I'd expect nothing else from Batman. Adam says, very nice Tudor reverse Panda, Black Bay 58 and sub in your collection. Yeah, I like Tudor and I like Rolex. I like the sub, and I'm glad I got it. I think it was 2013. I got that in the Cayman Islands. And I'm glad I did when I did. You know, it stings when you buy it. I mean, even back then they were expensive, not anywhere close to where they are today, especially on the gray market. But you know, glad I got it. Glad I got it instead of the Hulk or the they had a Kermit, new old stock Kermit when I got it. They also had Daytona. They had all the Rolex watches at that point in time. But I'm glad I got the sub no date. It's simple. It's symmetrical. It's always going to be a classic in my opinion. But I really enjoyed that. That's one of my favorite pieces. With that said, I also like the little OP puller that I got in 39 millimeter. That's just a basic piece, no date. Just wind it and wear it. But Tudor, that is one thing. Talking about 2022, and people, several people feel differently within the wristwatch community. Some people say, Tudor's not really going to go anywhere. But check out if y'all haven't checked it out, check out my video I posted yesterday. It's actually doing quite well. I've had 327 views so far, and it's entitled "Why Tudor Has a Major Perception Problem." Within that video, I talk about the Tudor Watch Company, and it's just kind of a history of how Tudor was created. Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of both Rolex and Tudor, his vision for the companies, and how even when he created Tudor, that his vision was it was a more affordable Rolex. Check out my video. I think I'd like to hear everybody's take on that, because I firmly feel that Tudor is going to become a powerhouse wristwatch brand in 2022 and beyond. I mean, when they released the Black Bay, Tudor said, "Hey, we're serious. We're not just Rolex's little sister. We're not just the poor man's Rolex anymore. We're developing our own brand identity. We are a separate brand. We're going to compete with Rolex and then also Omega." And I think that's what they're going to do. And then we've got, let's see, Philippe says, "I am behind you, 57 years old with 69,000 left on the mortgage. I will work for only 10 more years." That's not bad, man, Philippe. That's not bad. Philippe says, "I love to travel as much as you do, but traveling without money, impossible." Yeah, you got to have money. I mean, here's the thing. It's like if you're going somewhere, you need to be aware of how much it costs. Now, sure, I go to St. Bart's. St. Bart's is super expensive. I mean, you've got people there on multi-million, $100+ million yachts. I mean, these are people that have infinite amount, or nothing's infinite, but a somewhat infinite amount of wealth. They could eat whatever, they could buy whatever, and they probably wouldn't be able to spend it in several lifetimes. But, that's the thing. When I go to places like that, yes, I'm aware of the enhanced prices for food and all that, but I still can do it on the cheap. So, I'm always looking for a discount. So when I went to St. Bart's and, pulled into Gustavia, which is the little port where all the mega yachts and all that are, my thing was, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a good meal on the island. Ate at On the Rocks, which is at Eden Rock. It's I think it's a Forbes 5-star restaurant, super high end place. I mean, super expensive. Wife and I spent hundreds of dollars there to eat, but it was worth every penny. Now the rest of the time, we're going to the little grocery store and picking up knickknacks and just kind of eating and grazing. So, there's ways to do things on the cheap, but again, to your point, it still requires money. Travel requires money. It doesn't mean that you got to eat the best meal for every meal. You can still pack your non-perishable food items and stay fed and then just splurge on a few really good meals. But like you, Philippe, I know you're a chef, so it would be hard to go to certain destinations and not experience the best food there. So, yeah, you got to have money to travel. Cal C says, "I'm debating on a new 22 Sierra. Lots of cheddar, but dandy of a truck." Man, I will tell you, and so I had the GMC Sierra. I think it was a 2016 or 2017. I'm about to look back. I got a video on my channel. Had zero problems with that truck. It was super comfortable. Now, the gas mileage, yeah, you're going to spend a lot for gas. But, man, it is crazy. That was back before the truck prices went up. Truck prices are astronomical now. And what was funny, when I traded that truck in, but I traded it in, and it was I got so much for it. I didn't react. I didn't verbally or non-verbally react when they told me how much they would give me for the trade-in of the truck, but I was kind of like, wow, those things hold their resale value. And whatever happened in the past 3 or 4 years or so, I mean, truck prices just went through the roof. And that's not just buying them new. If you owned a truck and you traded it in, the trade-in values for those is nuts. Now, the flip side of buying a truck new, even though you're going to spend a premium now, even if you get the base model, that's what I had I didn't have the leather seats in mine. I think it was the SLE instead of the SLT. I think the SLT has the leather. So I got the pretty basic GMC Sierra, but they do tend to hold their value really well. And, be aware of the gas the gas price you're going to spend for it. But, I mean, if you need to tow something, I would definitely get it. I like that new. I like the new Ford Bronco. As far obviously it's not a truck; it's more of a Jeep type thing. But that looks really cool. So it's I don't know. My old car now I get about 30 or 40 miles per gallon. So I'm going to stick with that for a while. Adam says, I still remember I thought a Tissot PRC 200 in 2013 and said to myself, get to my financial goals first and good things will come later. Picked up my grill last year when my AD got me the sub 124060. Nice. That's the current reference to Mariner. Very nice. And then the AD followed up a few weeks later offering the Pelagos FXD. That's the new Pelagos. It has the integrated, it doesn't have the spring bars. It has an integrated piece, that the NATO strap goes on. That's a nice looking watch. I sense a big year for Tudor releases. Yeah, no doubt. If you haven't checked out my video, check out my video, what Tudor should release in 2022. I've got a few wish items on the wish list. And I think it's time that Tudor really releases the glide lock style mechanism for the Black Bays across the board. And I also think it's time for them to bring us some Tudors with ceramic bezels. I know the Pelagos has ceramic bezel. I know there's, I think, one Tudor Black Bay that has ceramic bezel, but they need to up those offerings because, it's inevitable now. I mean, when you look at, and if you weren't aware of this, Rolex and Tudor both, if you go to their websites, the MSRP for both brands, they've increased prices. And I haven't looked at all the references, but I think it's pretty much across the board. I mean, and the Rolex price increases were significant. I mean, it's for most people, there is no longer an entry level Rolex anymore. I mean, it has gone through the roof. I'm just looking at their site right now. Yeah, I mean, even their entry level stuff's no longer entry level. So they've got to get Tudor. Again, they got to work on Tudor's perception problem and really get that brand separate in the minds of consumers because, again, their founder, Hans Wilsdorf, he, in a roundabout way, said that Tudor's a poor man's Rolex. I mean, not to misquote him, but that was the gist of his. Actually, I'll read what Hans Wilsdorf said. So Hans Wilsdorf said, this is, quote, Hans Wilsdorf, for some years now, I've been considering the idea of making a watch that our agents could sell at a more modest price than our Rolex watches, and yet one that could attain the standards of dependability for which Rolex is famous. I decided to form a separate company with the object of making and marketing this new watch. It is called the Tudor Watch Company. And that was a quote from Hans Wilsdorf. So he not only created Rolex, but Hans Wilsdorf created Tudor as well. So that's what he was saying about Tudor. So, they've now, with the Tudor being a very high-end wristwatch, great technology, great finishings, great bracelets, now it is going to replace what used to be the entry-level Rolex watches. And not just the entry-level Rolex segment. I see that there's going to be some upmarket Tudor pieces as well, and that's already been demonstrated in which I'm not a fan of it, but they've got a precious metals, Black Bay, and that sort of stuff. So, Tudor is going to step into a new tier, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation didn't create a third brand, a very entry-level brand, because, Tudor now is just as difficult from a financial perspective to get as Rolex once was. So they don't truly, even with Tudor, the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation still doesn't have a truly entry-level brand. I mean, Tudor's upmarket now as well. Adam says, the AD followed that a few weeks. Okay, I read that. I watched your video. Agree with you. GMT 58 dimensions with T-fit clasp. That's what they call it. The Tudor glide lock equivalent. They call it T-fit. Would be perfect. And then Adam says, before the pandemic, I would split my time between UK and Hong Kong and Thailand. The brand is strong in Asia, but needs development in the West. Yeah, and it used to be interesting you say that because historically, prior to the Black Bay, Tudor, I think, was only overseas. I don't think they had Tudor in the United States. Now Tudor is pretty prevalent in the United States, and it's, I think it's also a situation where, especially because of the supply shortage of Rolex watches, I think we're going to see a lot of Rolex authorized dealers, Rolex ADs, and also Rolex boutiques. I think we're going to start seeing Tudor be more front and center in their in their stores than they are now. It's kind of like you go in a store that sells Rolex and Tudor. Tudor's kind of that little booth, and it's kind of tucked in the corner, or maybe it's just a little, like in St. Thomas. It was funny, and I haven't been in St. Thomas since 2019, but the Rolex store in St. Thomas in Charlotte Amalie, you walk in, they've got all the booths, they had a significant amount of Datejust at that point in time, but the stainless steel sports were pretty much sold out. But then you walked over the corner, and it was like a little corner of the wall, and on that corner of the wall they had about 8 or 12 watches, and they were Tudor, and it had a little Tudor logo. It was kind of like they were just kind of hiding them in there. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think that'll be the case much longer for Tudor. I think we're going to see Tudor, much more pronounced within those Rolex authorized dealers and Rolex boutiques, because Tudor is a serious brand now. It's not a compromise. It's not a secondary option. Tudor is a real watch with its own identity. And again, they've just got to overcome, what their founder put into place when he created Tudor, and that's that perception problem. Tudor has a major perception problem to overcome. They're great watches. I'm wearing this isn't a watch, man. This is a fitness tracker. I'm wearing this fitness tracker right now because I'm going to do some working out after this live stream. I want to do a live stream because, again, I spilled generic store brand cola all over my laptop and my desk last night. And that generic store brand cola, it's got a lot more sugar and stuff in it because they're trying to compete with the name brand cola. And so it was extra sticky, man. I mean, I had to hard clean my desk. I am so fortunate that all of this equipment works, because I've got and this is something I built my YouTube studio in 2020. I majorly upgraded it with the Rodecaster Pro, with this studio monitor that's on my desk, all of this expensive lighting. I did all of that, and to see that store-bought cola spill on my desk last night, and even on my laptop, man, MacBook Air, and that's a true testament. This is the MacBook Air Apple Silicon. See, it's got the little USB-C ports on this side, because this is so low profile. You can see when that spilled on the desk, it was seeping into the USB-C ports, and it also got on the keyboard, and I had to abruptly disconnect from the live stream I was on. I was actually on Archibald Chesterfield III. I was on AC3's live stream, and I had to abruptly disconnect, power everything down, get wet towels on the electronics first, and then after I got the electronics rescued, then I had to do the cables that were connected. I put this whole thing, this microphone stand right here, man, it was just soaked in generic store brand cola, and so was the cable. I had to clean it all off. The same with with my headphones, this little twisty cable here, it was soaked in generic store brand cola, and I had to just put that cord in hot water and just scrub it. It was a terrible experience, but everything's working because we're live streaming using this equipment today, and it was hard to sleep not knowing if all this stuff was going to work today. And with the supply chain issues, with the cost of goods and all that going up, the last thing I wanted to do on January the 1st of 2022 is have to purchase new equipment that didn't need to be replaced. So I'm fortunate that all of this equipment is working properly, because it is a core component of my business. I mean, I've got to have this equipment to do what I do here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. So, having professional equipment is important when you want to, create that professional image for your channel. So I really appreciate everyone. And hopefully later today, if y'all want to tune in, especially, we got several people in the crowd that are wristwatch guys like Adam, man. If you'd like to tune in, I'm going to try to do a Timepieces for Tomorrow live show this evening. And it'll be a real honor if you're around and you'd like to tune in and be live. I use Skype. I just post a Skype link. You can do face on video. You could do audio only. It doesn't matter to me, but just be part of the conversation. And again, just being on chat's awesome too. I've really enjoyed chatting with you during this live stream. Again, this is just IrixGuy's Adventure Channel's live show. This is kind of my generic live show, meaning that it's everything from travel to wristwatches to drones. Got some drone stuff coming in 2022, so I'm excited about that. I know that drones, when they first came out, they were super popular. Like anything else, you know, the newness kind of wears off, but I think there's some new drones that are coming in 2022 that I think you'll be excited to see here on my channel. And most importantly, I wish everyone, always health before wealth. And speaking of that, I'm about to go do some exercise. Always important to stay healthy. That doesn't mean you have to be just like so regimented that you can't enjoy a good food or good snack. But, at least be mindful that, exercise every day is so important. So, like every year, and it's not just a New Year thing, a New Year activity, but, every day, I set aside a significant amount of time for exercise. And that's, that's important. I mean, I eat a bunch of junk. I drink whatever I want to drink, but, that daily exercise is so important. And, that's something I encourage everyone to do in 2022 and beyond. And on that note, if you're looking for quality exercise equipment, definitely check out my Schwinn IC4 videos on my channel. Schwinn IC4, my camera spotted somebody. Whoa, let's see what's going on here. Schwinn IC4 is a very affordable and very reliable indoor exercise bike. I've got mine right over there in my studio. It has been such a great workout. It's kept me from getting just fat. I'm a little bit bigger dude, but that's because I eat so much. But if I didn't exercise all the time, I'd be really huge. So, yeah, check out my IC4 videos if you're looking for a good tool for helping you to achieve or hopefully exceed your fitness goals for 2022 and beyond. Adam says, we'll check back later on future streams for sure. Look forward to see your channel grow this year. Adam, I really appreciate the support. Philippe, everybody that's tuned in here, appreciate all y'all's support. We're going to do a lot more live shows, and I'm going to make 2022 the best year yet for IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. Again, working with the tools I've got. Hopefully travel will normalize because I'm ready to get back down into the Caribbean and just film a ton of fresh content. I mean, those are my best business trips when I'm down there, man, when I'm doing the videos in the Caribbean. That's so much fun. But y'all stay safe. Best of luck with your fitness goals. Eat you some good food, man. Today is New Year. It's the new year. It's 2022. Woohoo! 2022. So y'all be safe. Tune in later. Again, I'm going to try to do a timepieces for tomorrow live show. I just wanted to do this live show to welcome everybody to the new year, welcome y'all to 2022, and let y'all know that y'all are all appreciated, and there's a ton of good stuff coming in 2022 and beyond. Thanks for your viewership. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream because I got some exercise to do, man. I got some fitness. I'll see y'all later.